The innovation path. So I was mentioning in yesterday's show that vision of the future, that optimistic vision of the future, the Star Trek science fiction utopia optimistic version of the future drove me into a career of technology because I immediately felt at one with tech. And as an introvert, that's where people go, right? If you're an introvert, you prefer speaking to machines than you do to humans because humans are so troublesome, right? Isn't it great to be able to talk to a machine? Because machines never talk back. Well, they do now, but that was then. So it took me into, and if you think about the intersection between technology and the future, where are you going? You're going into innovation. So that's what I did for the longest time. I went into the business of innovation. And that's right, folks, there is such a thing as the business of innovation. And it eventually led me to Silicon Valley. So I ended up in Silicon Valley around 1998 or something like that. And everything was going on at that time. Everything was exploding at that time. We had Netscape exploding. We had Google exploding. Everything was exploding around that time. Right? I think Yahoo was in 1995, whatever. So everything was exploding at that time. It was the center of innovation. This is where everything was happening. And when you take looking at the future and intersecting it with technology, then you get innovation. I desperately wanted to be down here so that I could work on the most cutting edge, amazing things. And not because I wanted to make a lot of money. No. I wanted to, as Steve Jobs said, dent the universe. This was always my vision as a child, to see what we can do to better our society, humanity, with technology. How can we use technology to make a dent in the universe, to do better for people, to help people improve their lives? And for a long time, that's exactly what I did. Of course, when you're working in the corporate world, there's always the profit incentive, right? So you don't necessarily, you still invent and I have 369 patents. I'm an inventor on 369 patents. You don't necessarily stop inventing things that help humanity. But the problem is that if you're working for a profit-based corporation, the ideas that make money, those are the ones that become real, right? And the rest can be captured as a patent and maybe at some point can become real. But there's swaths and swaths, especially in the field of innovation. There's swaths of people in the innovation space that are creating amazing innovations, great new ideas. But a lot of these ideas never see the light of day because they're not profitable. If you're working for a major corporation, if you're working for an organization, and you're attempting to innovate in that organization, and the innovation doesn't lead directly to a bottom line, then it's problematic. Even though it could be an amazing innovation that really does a lot for people. There's many things that you can't do, or it's not that they don't want to do them. They would probably love to do them, and they could probably see a profit incentive in those things once they're done. But the risk is too great. It's better to have something closer. That's why in a lot of organizations, you don't see disruptive innovation. Where do you see the disruptive innovation is in startups. And that's one of the reasons why I also focus on startups on this show, because that's where you see the disruptive innovation. It's the disruptive innovation in startups who take the risk, whereas the corporates and the VCs sort of sit back and let them take the risk until they see there's some traction, there's something they can do with it, and then boom, it happens. If you think about it, we are amazing. Human beings have probably solved every single problem that's in front of us, except for maybe some of the more intractable, high-level fruit problems. But a lot of the reason why these high-level or these problems have not actually been solved is that there's no profit motive in them. So other organizations need to step up, NGOs, governments, to be able to take that innovation and run with it and do something with it. But is that where I was going with this show? No. So as part of innovation, as part of looking at the future, the best way to innovate is to seek out the new. Constantly seek out the new and see and put juxtapositions between what's currently there and what's out there. Put yourself in new positions, put yourself in new places, see new things, expose yourself to new things that aren't necessarily part of your core vision. This is what I say all the time. When people want to innovate in their space, they can't talk to people or look at things in the space. They need to get out of their space. They need to get out of their zone and reconnect with other people, other disciplines, other things. I think Steve Jobs got this when he was saying that we're not just going to staff Apple with technologists. We're going to staff Apple with philosophers. We're going to staff Apple with musicians. We're going to staff Apple with physicists. We're going to staff Apple with people from all sorts of different backgrounds so that they can contribute to this, because they'll bring different perspectives on this, and this is how you innovate. So the second part of my journey was innovation. Going deep, going hard on innovating in the technology space. In the technology space and outside of the technology space. So some of the stuff we're talking about, they're business models. They're not necessarily technology. So that's how I decided to go into the future, was to create a career in innovation where we're constantly bringing things to new market, constantly creating new ideas, new concepts, new things, brand new things that nobody's ever seen before. And some of these overlap with the overall vision of bettering humanity, and some not so much. But you got to take the bad with the good. You get everything all together. You keep on innovating, you keep creating, and who knows what the next amazing thing is going to be. So over all this time, I've been doing podcasts, I've blogging, I've created all sorts of content out there. And I'll tell you, if you could take an AI and apply it against the content that I've created, you would probably be able to create a pretty good facsimile of me speaking on almost any topic whatsoever. But as part of this innovating and requiring to be connected to lots of different amazing things, because that is how you innovate. You bring in whole other disciplines into your discipline, and you mash these disciplines up until you come up with something new. And you're almost always come up with something new when you mash up the disciplines, when you're a lot more creative when you do all these different things, when you expose yourself to all these different things, when you read different things, when you look at different things, when you talk to different people, you innovate. And what ended up happening is that I've gone down so many paths that I'm basically a polymath. I know a little bit of everything. What do they used to call them? Like Renaissance men or something like that. Generalists, that's right. So you know a little bit. So even though I started in technology and innovation, and I find myself as a generalist. And as a generalist, it's very difficult to make yourself heard in the world. So what you have to do is find something that's called a through line. What is the thing that pulls all these things together? And when you find the thing that pulls all these things together, you'll find this magic thing that pulls all these things together. The through line is connected with absolutely everything that you've ever done. And that's what I did. That's it for me for today. See you next time. And until then, don't forget to think future.